This is Diggs. And you see Diggs is kind of leaning towards me. Diggs is not like this. Diggs, here, buddy. So I'm just give you a demo. So just even reaching for that causes him to go away. In this video, I'm going to go over how you can use what's called a conditioned emotional response to help a dog get over a fear of something. Now, we look at that like, dog, you're being dumb. There's no reason to fear that. It's a harness. For him, it is a boogeyman. Doesn't matter what his rationale is. He doesn't like it. Normally, his guardians pick this up. He runs literally into the corner. That's as far away as he can get from it. And as guardian, we were kind of talking about this, and she's made a lot of common behaviors that a lot of humans do with dogs, where we don't think about it as we would if it was our child. We're just like, you're being unreasonable, you're running away, I'm going to go over to you, I'm going to put the harness on you, I have to put the harness on you to take you outside or wherever it is. We actually don't have to put the harness on. What we could do is we could teach the dog that the harness means something good is about to happen. Diggs, you going to come this way? There we go. Here, buddy. So you see he's reticent to come over, so I'm just going to go ahead and toss a treat. And all I want to do is walk over. Now this might actually be a companion piece to another video I did with another Shar Pei named Saucy. Diggs. So basically what I did for that dog is what I'm going to show you here if I can. But his fear response, and you see his back leg was, if you see a dog leaning towards something or with its back leg out behind it, it's trying to say I'm uncomfortable with that. So I'm trying to get ready to turn around and run away. So I'm keeping part of me away from it. So if that's the case, that dog's body language is indicating a fear response or fearful behavior by their body mechanic. So what I want to do is I'm going to go ahead and we're going to make this what we call static. So static means it's just stationary. I'm not moving it. So it's a little bit easier for dogs with a harder fear to react to. Now he has a food allergy, so I'm using some cheese here for him. And I'll go ahead and grab a couple pieces and we'll tear them in small little bits. Diggs! I'm using the positive interrupter sound. And then he comes and I throw a treat. All I want to do is approach the harness. You saw he took the treat and went away. There you go, buddy. Since I'm not holding it, it's a little bit easier, but you're going to watch, he takes it and goes away. Diggs. So I throw another one. What am I doing? I'm helping him practice approaching it in whatever capacity he can deal with. Right now, if I'm holding it, that's too much for him. But you saw now, he came up closer and he's lingering. I can give him one for my hand, but I really want him to get it from being near the harness or approaching the harness. Now he's sniffing on his own, so I'm going to offer a treat there. I like that behavior. I want to reward and pay that particular behavior. And we might turn this into a shaping exercise. So I'm kind of tossing it in. Now he's got to interact with the harness, but it's static. Nobody's trying to put it on me. And something good is happening to me when I go towards it. Now, I think what I am going to do is I'm going to make this a shaping exercise. So I'm going to have him sit. Nice is his marker word. So what I'm going to do, and you can hear that there's a sound of somebody doing some construction. If you're doing this here on a fearful dog, that is not something you should do it through. I'm under the clock, and I'm not here all the time, so we're going to power through. But if that sort of thing happens, you would stop. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to basically, thanks. I'm going to wait for him, nice, to look at the harness. Here, buddy. Sit. Nice. And you see his fear response. And if your dog ever wants to move away from something like he is, let them. Sit. So what I'm doing is I'm waiting for him to look at the harness. This is shaping. Shaping means we're going to reward the dog for a small fraction, nice, of the behavior we want. So he wanted to look directly at it, but he kind of looked in that direction. Nice. He just leaned for it. Now, if you're doing this, make sure, see how he's looking at my hands? I'm going to put my hands behind me. Nice. So the instant he looks at it, I say his marker word. Nice. And I'm offering him a treat. Now, because he was so fearful, I was putting it on the ground and letting him come and get the treats. You might have to practice that for a couple days before you get to that. That's totally okay. As we talked about at the beginning of the session, the goal is for the dog to be comfortable and complete the exercise. Nice. Not to complete it quickly. Nice. In our society, we're so worried about doing things right away, instant gratification, we skip over the parts that are important. So you see he's breathing heavy, that's an indication he's stressed. Nice. So all he's doing is just looking at it, and every time he does, I'm saying nice to let him know that's what I wanted, and then I'm rewarding him. It's hard to tell with the Shar Pei eyes. And patience. Shaping takes patience. Nice. And again, if he had difficulties, I might just keep on throwing those treats near it until he starts looking at more, going towards it. That's good practice as well. So you see he darted his head. He's kind of figuring out, he doesn't know exactly what it is, but I turn my head, sometimes I get a treat. Yeah, you're a very handsome fella. I know, it could be stressful. So I move around a little bit. Oh, he's getting ready to give me the treat. Nice. So for shaping, I'm going to kind of describe what we'll do for the rest of this. Yeah. Are you going to look one more time? Nice. So this part, so the first stage of what I would do is put it down on the ground and toss a treat. Let him come and get it. If you won't get it, put a treat. If you put a treat here and you won't get it, put the treat here. Then here, here, here. Get it, and if he'll only go to here and then turns and walks away, people are like, oh, that's a failure. Then keep doing that. Put some more treats. Have him practice. Every time I practice approaching it, something good happens, he walks away, we're creating a positive experience. He's had a lot of negative experiences with this thing. It might take a lot of positive experiences to counter them. Again, it's not a race to get to complete it fast. It's a race to complete it properly. Saw before, he was leaning, he was running around. Now look at him. He's using his nose, which can be a calming behavior. Could also be displacement behavior. But to me, I'm indicating that he is comfortable with this. And since I'm doing shaping, if he comes closer to it, that would be a little bit late. But see, now he sees that I have a treat. So when you're doing it, kind of keep the treats behind your back or somewhere else. So that way, it's a little bit more, we're rewarding the action, but the action should be genuine. I don't want to, I don't want to lure him to do it. Now, at first I was tossing the treats around because he had such a severe reaction. Nice! But that's what I mean by shaping. So what I'm doing is every time he gets closer to it, even though the treats are here, the action is there. Let's see if he'll do it again. Nice. So the first thing you want to just do is look at it. And eventually you'd like him to lean towards it or sniff towards it or take a step towards it and say nice, and then give him that treat. Remember, you have to do this within 2 seconds of him doing it. And eventually what we should do is nice. See him linger. See him looking at it more and more often once he figures this out. It's a numbers game, and don't worry if it takes your dog 100 pieces of treat, that's okay. There's no, again, the goal is to have him comfortable looking at the leash or the harness. Nice. And so you keep on doing each stage until the dog is doing whatever whatever you want to do for that stage quickly, just like he just did there. He looked at it 3 times in a very quick succession. But that lean, that body language says I'm uncomfortable. So we keep on practicing the stage till his feet are underneath it. He's not stiff. He's not tense. He comes over to it without any hesitation. Now, if I pick it up, he's going to move away. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you without actually touching the harness so he stays in the shot. So what I would do next is I would have a bunch of treats in my hand. And this is when he can go up to it and he's looking at it right away and not having any problem. So let's say the harness is in this hand. What I would do is I would go like this. He looks at it. I say yes and give him the treat. All he has to do is now look at it, but now I'm holding it and it's moving, so that makes it harder. And I keep on doing this until when I hold it up, he looks at it right away and say nice. The next stage, I'm going to hold my hand up. I'm going to wait. And this is way too fast in this video, but I want to kind of show you how to do it. So nice. So the next stage is you're going to wait for him to touch it with his hand. Are we trying to put it on him? No. And this should be something you do like 5 or 10 times a day without putting it on him at all. So just the leash comes out, boy, it's the plethora of treats. Boy, do I like that harness or that leash, because now every time it comes out, good stuff happens, and the thing that I don't like never happens anymore. So eventually what I would do is, let's say that I'm holding the harness right here, or with this hand, and I would stick my hand, so the harness is basically right here. I'm sticking my hand with the treat through the harness, and then he gets it. See if I can do it a little bit here. See, it's gonna be hard. So like this, I hold it like this, and he gets that treat. I'll see if we got better camera presence. And what I would do is I'd actually like my hand to go through it like here. So now I go through a little bit, not quite as far. If he doesn't want to come and get it, you stick your hand out further. We want him to approach while you're holding the harness kind of, and look at that. So the thing that he was running away from, now he's going to. See, we flip the dynamic. Now he is the one making the decision, not us. I should have said nice when he approached. Nice. And then he gets the treat. I get the drool as a little bonus for me. Nice. And eventually when you're doing this, you're going to hold your hand further and further back until eventually you're holding the treat here. He's sticking his nose in. Then he's sticking his head in. And I could do this. I'm sure I could achieve it, but we're a little bit limited on time, and that, again, is not an ideal situation. So you want to keep doing this, and you'll be tempted. When he's got his head most of the way in here, you're going to be tempted to just put it over. Don't. Wait until it goes completely on, until he sticks his head all the way through there. You want to do that again? And he has a pretty severe, you see that twitchiness, that's a pretty severe indicator that he's very, very uncomfortable with this. But even in a very short period of time, he's able to come, he's getting closer and closer to it. And he's doing it all on his own. This is called a conditional emotional response, or a CER. I'm going to wipe this on your carpet, sorry. So basically, this is something that's probably going to take you multiple practice sessions. Now, he does like this with the harness as well as with the leash. Now, strictly speaking, I'm not a big fan of the harnesses that are what's called a T-shaped harness, where it goes here and then there's a stripe here. You really want the harness to be an X or a Y shape, kind of going like this. It's better for their mobility and a lot of other reasons. But eventually, you get to the point where, and again, he's coming towards me, so, no, he was. I didn't have a treat ready. So make sure you have a plethora of really good treats when you're doing this. Do it in different parts of your house. Don't do it when there's crazy stuff going outside. And you can exercise him a little bit ahead of time, and that will help set him up for success. You guys can't see him because he's in the shot. He's going to start coming in now. See when I shifted on my butt? When we're standing or kneeling or crouching, well, standing especially, we look temporary. We're just paused and then we're going to continue walking. When I go on my butt, we're going to be here for a minute. And that helps dogs settle down a little bit. So when you do it, try to sit down in kind of this sort of position. That'll be helpful. So keep on practicing this, and you want to go at your dog's pace. I'd like to say do it like 3 to 5 times a day, but for some dogs that might be too much. And this is a great, it's not a great, this will burn a substantial amount of energy. It is not a good way for him to burn energy because he's anxious. But keep in mind that this is going to drain a lot of energy. So we talked off camera just now about exercise. This would be an exercise. I would do this maybe every 2 hours, every 3 hours. It might have to be every 5 hours. If he gets, if it's too much for him, we don't want to make it a negative, and we don't want to force him because we can kind of create a bad situation. So he does the action, we say the marker word, then he gets the treat. Don't give him the treat first. Eventually you can kind of poison that treat. He won't come near it when you're holding this thing. And eventually when you get it on him, put it on him. And then maybe the first time you put it on him, give him like 3 or 4 treats. Don't worry about clipping it. And then let him walk around with it unless it disturbs him, then take it off. And then practice that again. It gets to the point where putting the harness on is a good positive thing. Then eventually you can come up with a word for it. Maybe you hold your harness and say, dress up, and he comes and runs over, shoves his head through there, you snap it, and you give him a treat, you say nice, give him a treat afterwards. So putting the harness now on is something that is a good positive thing that makes me feel good, and it's something my guardian likes as well. Diggs, here buddy, we gotta sign off, but you have to be here for the video. There you go. Sit. Also an indicator. So you see right there, he sat, but he took a step back. If you ever ask your dog to sit or lay down, they know how to sit or lay down, but they don't want to do it, even when you have a really good treat, it could mean that they're uncomfortable with the situation. So I use the sit as an indicator. Sit. Nice. If he didn't want to sit, I wouldn't be mad or think that he is being disobedient. He's saying, I'm not comfortable enough to sit next to that damn thing. So what we want to do instead is use the sit as an indicator. And what we want to do is have not, and you saw that time that was better. It's harder for you guys to see from behind, but he has legs underneath him. His body mechanics indicated he was a lot more comfortable. So go at your dog's pace, make sure it's a positive thing, and then afterwards, give him some belly rubs, play a game that he really likes to do after each time. So it's just like, I like doing this activity. It's a fun thing to do. I get a lot of treats. The scary part doesn't happen, and afterwards, you take me out for an ice cream cone. So it's a good positive thing. Sit. This is my buddy Diggs, and this is how you can use a CER, or a conditioned emotional response, to help a dog get over fear of something.